Good afternoon, everybody. We are going to get started here in a couple minutes. I'm glad to see you guys all joining us. For the time being, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask us or our panelists, we will be addressing those at the end of the presentation, and some we may try and get to during the session. But if you have questions, go ahead and click that Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Hopefully you see that. And you can start asking some questions to us in that Q&A feature. And then we'll get started here in a couple minutes. Hi again, everybody. I just wanted to let you know that we are going to get started here in another minute or two, let some more people roll in, but feel free to ask us some questions if you have any in the Q&A box. Go ahead and click the Q&A button down at the bottom there, and we will try and answer those as we go. A lot of these I'm seeing we can probably answer at the end, or we may even be able to answer during. So if you have any questions, feel free to start typing those into that Q&A box, and we'll try and get those answered before the end of the session here. But we're going to get started in another minute or so. Okay, welcome everybody, and congratulations on being admitted to UC Davis. That is an awesome, awesome accomplishment. You should be very proud of yourselves. I know we're proud of you, and we're glad that you're joining us today. I know, well, actually, I can see a lot of you are asking us some questions. It's great to see some of these questions roll in on the Q&A. Feel free to type those in, use the upvote, the like feature, and we'll try and address as many of these as we can, especially those that rise to the top here. We will be addressing them throughout. You may get a typed answer by someone that's here behind the scenes, or we may be able to answer it once we get to the end and introduce our panelists today. So use that Q&A feature and those upvotes. Let me again say congratulations. Super glad that you have joined us today, and let's get started. All right. So first, we're going to talk a little bit about UC Davis. Some of you may have joined some of the other Aggie Experience Live events that were happening last week. So maybe you sat in on some undergraduate admission sessions or financial aid sessions, or maybe some housing. We're going to do just a quick little overview about UC Davis, and then we'll go into some more details about the college specifically, the College of Letters and Science. Hopefully, most of you are in a major in the College of Letters and Science. You've been admitted to that college, so that's why you got an invitation from us. And then once we're done with our quick little presentation here, I'll introduce the panelists. Actually, I'll have them introduce themselves, and then we'll have some time for questions at the end. And then hopefully you guys will stick around for some other stuff we're doing this week. We've got the only virtual majors fair happening at UC Davis. So hopefully you'll come back and ask some specific questions to your major advisors who will be available to you over the next couple of days. So for those of you who are just joining us, thanks for coming. Congratulations, welcome. And so let me actually, before we go to the next slide, I want to maybe figure out who's here. So I've got a question for you. Hopefully you'll be able to see it once I post it. I want to know who's with us today. So who's on the session? Do we have admitted students? Do we have parents? Do we have both? Do we have future Aggies? Brothers and sisters? Just take a second or two, and then we'll show what this looks like here. Awesome. Okay, great. So here we go. Looks like the majority of you are admitted students. Awesome. Great to have you. Congratulations again. And parents. So just so you know, I did the exact same thing. I have a senior in high school. She had some choices of schools, and we sat through a presentation just like this together at one of her top schools. So I'm glad the parents are here too. I've got another question for you. Let's see. And this one is whether or not you've ever been to campus. So let us know if you've been to UC Davis or not. Wow, this is surprising. I'm glad to see this. So it looks like it's almost a 50-50 split. This is cool. So about half of you have visited campus and the other half haven't. So if you haven't visited the campus yet, I do hope you will get a chance to visit campus once all of this craziness gets past us and we can leave our homes and go places. We sure do hope you'll be able to come and see the campus. But let's go to the next slide, and we'll give you, for those of you who haven't been to campus or maybe don't even know where UC Davis is, this is just to give you a sense of where we are. So UC Davis is located about 15 minutes or so west of Sacramento. It takes about 15-20 minutes, pretty easy drive. Sacramento, as you know, is capital of California. We're about an hour to an hour and a half east of San Francisco. So if you head west, you'll get into San Francisco pretty quickly. We're also about an hour and a half from the Tahoe region. So if you're a skier or you like hiking or just being outdoors, it's really close. And then we're also really close to the airport. So if you're not from the region, whether that's Northern California, the Bay Area, maybe you're from LA or Southern California, or even out of state or international, the Sacramento International Airport is only about 15 minutes away from the campus as well. And students actually can utilize the bus system to get a free ride out to the airport. All right, moving on here. So a little bit more about UC Davis. And again, some of you may have heard this already, but we're proud that UC Davis is ranked 5th among all public universities in the United States. That came out of the Wall Street Journal Times Higher Education College ranking. We're pretty proud of that. Gunrock is as well, as you can see there. And then we're also ranked 3rd of all US universities for doing the most for the American dream. This is actually one to be really proud of. The American Dream ranking comes from the New York Times College Access Index. And it's basically based on a combination of the number of lower to middle income students and the cost. So that's a pretty special ranking for us. All right, so once you get here, what do you do? How do you get involved? Well, there are 800 ways and more to find fun, to find yourself, to get involved on campus. 800, more than 800 actually, is the number of student organizations and clubs we have on campus. Clubs range from religious and faith-based to political-based, music and sports organizations, Greek life, obviously, fraternities and sororities, and then academic and honor societies. And as we mentioned here, most academic departments also have student organizations and clubs, like the chemistry club, and the art history club, and the undergraduate psychology association. You may hear from some of our student panelists about their involvement in some of these organizations. All right, so what is the College of Letters and Science? I get that question a lot. What are letters and science? What are letters? The College of Letters and Science, really, we consider ourselves the beating heart of the liberal arts and sciences at UC Davis. So what does that mean? Basically, students from all over campus, from all majors, from the other undergraduate colleges, take classes in our college. And it's because our majors span all disciplines. So the arts, like art studio, music, theater and dance, cinema and digital media, to the humanities, like English, foreign languages, religious studies, the ethnic studies, social sciences. A lot of students take psychology courses, sociology courses, philosophy, linguistics, communication, and then the foundational sciences, like what you're seeing here, chemistry or physics, math, and geology. So we really span all disciplines at UC Davis. And since every student on campus touches this college, we really are the beating heart of the campus. So a little bit more about the college. We do have some pretty unique programs. For instance, the design program that you see displayed here by the chancellor's wife, Lachelle May. She is wearing a design by a student. She was part of the Picnic Day Design Fashion Show. So the design program at UC Davis is the only program in the entire UC system. The design program is not just fashion, though. It is interior and graphic. It's a comprehensive design program. Our ethnic studies programs just celebrated 50 years. The ethnic studies are our African American and African Studies program, Asian American Studies, Chicana and Chicano Studies, and the Native American Studies programs. Those were conceived back in 1969, so they just celebrated their 50th anniversary. And then most of our majors also offer minors for students. So the 55 or so majors, the vast majority of those are also offered as minors. But we also have some unique minors as well that aren't necessarily majors, like Arabic and athletic coaching the history and philosophy of science and social and ethnic relations. And then the ones you see here, like human rights, oceanography, and professional writing. Those are just a few of the multitude of minors that we have here on campus in the College of Letters and Science. So college is not just about coming and getting a education, right? It's not just about sitting in class. It's about obviously getting your academics, but getting hands-on experience and applying your knowledge. So most students in the college, most students on campus actually do participate in research. They conduct research, they participate in internship and other leadership opportunities. You'll hear from our students about some of the things that they're involved in. And this list here is just a short list of some of the labs and centers and performance spaces that we have in the college. And then I also listed the Internship and Career Center as a place where all students across campus can go and get help finding jobs on campus and off campus, but also internships in and around the area. But the experience does not just stop on campus. It does not just stop, within the four walls of the campus, so to speak. Our students participate in abroad opportunities in over 40 countries. They do internships at the UC Center in Sacramento. That's an internship program, as well as at the Washington program in Washington, DC. And then we also have labs off the campus, including the Bodega Marine Lab. So a lot of opportunities for students to go beyond the campus to apply their academic knowledge. So in the college, we also have amazing faculty, and you're going to hear from one of them today. Our faculty earn many, many awards, such as you see here. Sarah Stewart, who is pictured here, was awarded the MacArthur Fellowship. That's sometimes known as the Genius Grant. There are about 20 to 30 of those awards given out each year. So it's a pretty high honor. Sarah is a planetary scientist. She is working on theories about the formation of the Earth and the Moon. And if you can believe it, she does this in her own lab on campus, the shockwave compression lab, which basically, if you can imagine a cannon, they shoot cannons in this lab to simulate the violent collisions that form planets. I've seen it, it's amazing. And just a little known fact, Sarah and I went to high school together back in O'Fallon, Illinois. So she's not just a faculty colleague, she's also a friend of mine. Okay, so like the campus, the college is very committed to our diversity, equity, and inclusion, and some of these goals. So like our students come from all 50 states, really, and more than 20 countries. Hopefully we have some represented by our attendees today. I know we actually have an out-of-state student panelist, so if you have questions about being an out-of-state student, she is available to answer those questions today. As stated here, 44% of our students are the first in their families to go to college or to finish college, and then 37% are from underrepresented backgrounds. All right, so I have another question for you. Before we go through this slide, I want to see how sure you all are on your major choice. So let me know, of the major you declared, how sure are you? Great. Couple more seconds here. All right. Well, that's kind of what I expected, and probably what our panelists will also expect to see, that some of you are positively sure. Most of you, almost half of you, are pretty sure, but then there are a good number of you that are sort of sure and not at all sure. So the reason why I wanted to ask that question was because as we get to this slide, it's important to talk about some of the resources that we have for our students. And when we talk about comprehensive and holistic advising, what that means is that students get to come and meet with a dedicated advisor for them, one-on-one. They get to do it as little as once a year, but that's minimum. Or they could do it as much as every quarter. And so they not only are talking about their academic career, but they're looking at their career options and just making sure that things are okay, that they're adjusting. So we also have undeclared programming in the college. So for students who maybe aren't quite sure, and there were a lot of you that are participating today, and we see a lot of applicants to our undeclared majors, or even if you have declared a major and you're just not quite sure, or maybe you're undecided, or maybe you're thinking of something else, or we know that it was several months ago that you had to indicate that major on your UC application, and so maybe you've changed your mind. We have a team that are here to help explore some of those options for you. And then in the Dean's office, the College of Letters and Science, we do have a dedicated college mental health counselor, as well as a case manager that can help students navigate the system, find resources, whether it is mental health or academic health, or just any kind of support that they might need. We have dedicated staff in our Dean's office for our students specifically. Okay, so now I think if we can, let's go ahead and I'm going to ask my panelists to maybe turn their videos on so that they can introduce themselves. And I will have a couple of questions for each of you. So I'll start with Professor Waters. Professor Waters is a professor of English and also the special advisor to our dean currently. So Professor Waters, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you unless you've done that. Great. And then, so I'll have you introduce yourself, say maybe just a few words about who you are, what you do, and why UC Davis is special to you.
So let me join Mark in welcoming everyone. We're really excited about the prospect of getting you all here. I'm a professor in the English department, as Mark says. I've been teaching at Davis for about 20 years. I got here in 2001. In my field, the field I work in is medieval studies. So I teach classes on Geoffrey Chaucer and King Arthur, as well as in other areas. And one of the things that I love about Davis and have loved since I've gotten here is the really terrific students. Honestly, it's a pleasure to teach here. The students are committed and excited and have great ideas. And it's also been a pleasure to me because the campus is really, really strong in both research and teaching. My colleagues are brilliant researchers, but they all are also really committed to teaching, and partly I think because the students are so rewarding.
Great, thanks. All right, let's move over to Mark Reyes, who is one of my colleagues in the Dean's office here in the advising unit. Mark, do you want to let people know who you are, what you do, and maybe what makes UC Davis special for you?
Sure. Thank you, Mark, and welcome everybody to the College of Letters and Science. So as Mark said, my name is Mark Reyes, not to be confused with Mark von Cannon. So I am the Assistant Director for First Year Advising in the College of Letters and Science. So I supervise a team of advisors. We have about 20 advisors in our office to support our entire college and undergraduate students. Prior to that, I was an advisor for about 12, 13 years. I'm starting to lose track of the time. So I've been on campus for a while. I'm also a UC Davis alum. I graduated back in 2006 from the College of Letters and Science with a bachelor's degree in history. So I came to UC Davis and never left. And I would say one of the things I think that kept me here were the people and the atmosphere. Campus is fantastic. The atmosphere, the people are just so nice. Honestly, again, it's one of the reasons I never left. And I'm happy to continue to be a part of that tradition.
That's great. Thanks, Mark. All right. How about Khalil? Do you want to go next and introduce yourself? Tell us who you are, what you do, and maybe why you chose UC Davis. How about that?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, hope everyone can hear me. My name is Khalil. This is my second year here at UC Davis, and I'm a political science major, and I'm hoping to go into law after I graduate from UC Davis. And on campus, I serve within our student government, actually. So I'm one of our 12 senators within ASUCD, and then I'm involved with various campus organizations. And the reason that I ended up choosing UC Davis, there was two main reasons. One was the campus feel that we have. So Davis, I know about 50% of you have visited. It's a very nice college town, and you really get to adjust and make that transition into college, which was really nice. And so if you're looking for something that will allow you to spend more time with people who are in the same situation as you, Davis is definitely the place to go. 50% of people in Davis actually are students, which is really cool. And then the second reason I chose UC Davis was because we're actually really close by to a lot of really great opportunities. So for example, for me, political science, we're really close to Sacramento, which has a lot of internship and job opportunities. And so you have your nice little college bubble while you still get to have access to different resources around Davis. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Khalil. Appreciate that. Angie, how about you go next? Introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, what you do, and maybe why you chose UC Davis.
Gotcha. Okay, first of all, congratulations, all of you, for making it into UC Davis. It's no easy feat. I'm Angie. As you can see on this slide, I'm a third-year computer science major here at UC Davis. I'm the out-of-state student Mark was talking about earlier. I'm from Boise, Idaho. Woo, anyone from Idaho? Yay. Go potatoes. I am involved with Hack Davis, the UC Davis hackathon here. I'm involved with KDBS, the radio station here. So I'm very involved with on-campus activities. And I chose UC Davis because we have such an excellent and welcoming community here. We have a wonderful sense of community, of belonging and inclusion and diversity. So that's what really drew me to Davis. Yeah.
Thanks, Angie. Okay, Tiana, last but definitely not least, our Tiana Williams, also a colleague in the Dean's office. Do you want to introduce yourself? Let us know who you are, what you do, and maybe why you chose UC Davis.
Yes, thank you for having me, Mark. So my name is Tiana Williams. I am a fourth year cinema and digital media and African American studies double major. So this is my last quarter at Davis, an interesting one at that, of course. I'll be attending USC in the fall, and that's definitely because of all the opportunities that I've been given here at Davis. Would not have gotten there without the faculty. That's a number one thing. So I guess speaking about like my favorite aspect of Davis would be the faculty and how supportive they are. All the opportunities that are available, whether that's research or internships, and just how willing they are to work with students. I'm also a peer advisor in the College of Letters and Science, as Mark mentioned. So I work with Mark Reyes directly. He's one of the pro staff there. So I pretty much help students with academic resources, whether that's, providing help with Schedule Builder, online resources that we have, and just being like a student perspective, it's a lot more approachable coming to students and asking for help in that way. So I help a lot of first-year students. So y'all will be seeing other peer advisors like myself. I won't be here next year, but you'll be able to work with a lot of other peer advisors in the college. They're really great. And the reason I came to Davis is an interesting one. I originally wanted to go to Illinois for journalism, but Davis offered me the best financial package. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna go to UC Davis and see what options are there. And that's where I kind of fell in love with film and got involved with cinema and digital media. And I was that major when I came in. I stuck with that major throughout my entire time here. My favorite thing about the community, I would say, is I just echo everything everyone else is saying about how friendly it is really friendly community. And I think the activism is one of the things that kind of kept me here, because I did plan on transferring to Illinois after my first year, but obviously I stayed. The activism, the community, and the resources and opportunities that are available to students.
Awesome. Thanks, Tiana. We're glad you chose, we're glad you chose to come here and say, super glad. All right, so we've got a bunch of questions in here. So I'm gonna ask Kristen, who is our producer behind the scenes, there we go, now everybody can see everybody. So we've got a bunch of questions in here. So we'll try and tackle as many of these as we can. So let's start with the ones at the top. How about we'll start with Tiana, and then maybe Mark, if you want to pick this one up. Actually, I'm going to do this too. Let me, since I'm here, I may as well turn my video on. There we go. Hi, everybody. All right, so let's start with Tiana, and then Mark, maybe you might have something to add here. How and when would you be able to add a double major or a minor? And then maybe, is that a good idea? Tiana, do you want to start with that one?
Sure. So you're able to add a double major or a minor after your first quarter at UC Davis. So once you do have a UC GPA, you're eligible to add a major or change your major if you want to change out of the major you're in. I actually added a double major after my first quarter because I was definitely looking around trying to figure out what options I had while I was at Davis. And I think that was the best choice because I did it early on. So it gave me a lot of flexibility to take the classes I wanted to rather than switching in my third year. And then I may have had to stay longer or what, there's lots of things that come up, but you can change your major or add a major after your first quarter.
Great, thanks. Mark, do you have anything to add or any maybe things to avoid, perhaps?
So putting on my major hat, or sorry, my advising hat, I think students really want to think about why they'd want to double major or change their major, right? I know a lot of sometimes students can't decide on a particular major, so I really recommend in your first year to take classes from multiple different areas to kind of explore and see if those initial ideas that you had for maybe a secondary major or even a minor field are the directions you really want to go. And then also think about how that's going to look long term. Within the College of Letters and Science, a lot of our majors are relatively modest in size. So I saw a lot of questions about units and credits. Most of our majors are anywhere from 60 to 70 units to complete. And to graduate, you need 180 units. So students can easily double major within that. The question becomes, is it something that you want to do? And then how do you balance the other activities and other things you want to do along with that? So there are a lot of opportunities. We've already talked about internships. We've talked about, or maybe we haven't talked about study abroad programs. Some of the really unique experiences you want to be able to balance out, trying to do all of the different things and how that would fit into your overall plan. So I usually say, start planning early and sort of looking at the whole picture before you start diving in, just so you can get an idea of what it's going to look like over those next couple of years, and definitely talk to all those different major departments.
Great. Anyone else have anything to add before we move to another question? All right. So another question sort of about majors. Angie, I know you did this. Khalil, I'm not so sure. I think you have done this. how hard is it to change majors? But if you're changing majors between departments or maybe even between colleges, how hard is it to do that?
Should I start?
Yeah, go ahead, Angie.
Good question. I actually started not too far off from computer science. I was in computer science and engineering, which is in the College of Engineering, not in the College of Letters and Science. It wasn't too difficult. I was lucky. I had taken most of the prereqs to switch into CS. So I believe it's, as Tiana mentioned, you have to have a certain amount of quarters taken, units taken, in order to officially change into different majors. So luckily I had already taken a few quarters at UC Davis before making that decision. The transition wasn't too hard. I will say it's probably easier to switch earlier than later. So if you're questioning, it's better to question earlier than later because you might need to spend another year, taking additional courses to graduate with that major. But if you have that in mind, relax, you're okay. You can get it done. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I can add on to that a little bit. Like Angie, I made a switch between majors, but it wasn't that big. I changed from political science, public service to political science. And so it's within the same college and technically within the same department. But in general, if you're looking to switch majors, you're not stuck to the major that you came in. That's the big takeaway. And so if you are interested in taking classes outside of your major, outside of the department, that's definitely something that you're able to do. And usually, if you are looking to switch majors, it's just a good idea to talk to the major advisor for the major that you're trying to switch into. And they're very helpful, and they're going to be able to help give you the path to make that switch. And so it's relatively easy at UC Davis.
Great. Thanks, guys. Anyone else have anything to add to that question?
So I just want to, again, jump in as the advisor here. I would say, to echo everything that the student said, it is fairly easy. But what you'll notice is the emphasis on doing things early and thinking about it early, because there definitely is a sort of a point at which, if it's the last quarter of your senior year, changing your majors if you haven't done anything is probably not going to be all that easy. But yeah, it's definitely something if you start thinking about it early and planning, you can keep that door open and those options open much longer if you sort of start at the beginning rather than making a complete 180 towards the end.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for adding that in. Professor Waters, how accessible are professors? So how about you take that and then we'll let one of the students give their perspective as well. Do you want to start? Hold on 1 second. Let me unmute you. Got it. There you go.
Yeah, sorry. Professors like to be very accessible. And one of the things that I always say to people coming in is that office hours, for example, are there to be used. I've had so many students over the years come in and, come into office hours and say, I don't have a specific question. And I'm like, that's fine. That's great. You're here. We can talk about the class. We can talk about what questions you have. We can just talk about the books. I would really encourage people. It can seem a little intimidating, but that door is open for you. And one of the things, Davis isn't, I don't know, as people have been saying, it's a really big school. It's a comprehensive university, but it's also very community focused. And so people don't feel overwhelmed, I think, right? Faculty are really excited to work with students. That happens in class. Obviously, it happens in independent projects and research, happens in office hours. So I think it's a great place for that. I don't think people get lost here the way they sometimes do it at some big schools.
Great. Any of the students have anything to add about accessibility of your faculty?
I can just add that, every every class size is different. Sometimes it can be really overwhelming to approach a professor or an instructor. And that's why, as Professor Waters mentioned, office hours exist. But, There's also Canvas, emails. If you do have questions, your professors, your instructors, your TAs should be very accessible online as well, especially right now with all this COVID-19 stuff happening. You know, and your instructors tend to want to be accessible. They want to help you. So never feel like everyone's not on your side, because chances are your instructors do want to help you and make you feel comfortable to ask for help.
Tiana, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I was just going to mention that I think the professors are extremely accessible, but even if you're not in the professor's class, I found that sometimes they'll just walk through certain hallways and peek into different professors' office hours, and they may not know me as a student personally. I may not be in their course, but they're always willing to share some knowledge and help students and provide opportunities. I want to like reiterate that the opportunities are definitely there, and the faculty are the ones that are often giving them. So definitely connect with your professors if you can once you come to Davis.
I'm actually going to add something to this. It's been a long time since I was a student at UC Davis, but I went into office hours with my faculty member in a class I was in, and that's how I got the research position that I had, because it was after a lecture, and she blew me away with what she was talking about and some of the research. And so I went in and talked to her about it, and I said, what opportunities do you have for undergrads in any of your labs? And she set me up with one of her grad students, and I got to help out with some of their research. So it's a great way to like get your entree into research as well, going in and talking to your faculty members. So we have some questions about, we've actually got a lot of questions about like choosing classes, registering for classes. So Mark Reyes, do you want to maybe do a quick overview of like what orientation is going to look like, and how and when that might happen, and what that, you know, when students register and those kinds of things?
Sure, we have time for that, right? So this year, UC Davis decided to move to, and this was actually pre what's going on, move to an online orientation model. So we were already prepared to offer online, what we're calling Aggie 101 to all students. And so that will be coming out after the SIR deadline for students. So there will be some modules, a lot of information, detailed specifics about how to register and other important things about coming to campus. And then what we do after that is you'll have an opportunity to meet with your advisor one-on-one. So the staff here in the College of Letters and Science, if you're in our college, you'll have an opportunity to meet one-on-one with them to talk about your course selection, talk about the classes you're going to be taking, review your major requirements, and how to pick other classes. Because when you come to Davis, you're not going to be taking all major classes your first quarter. We really do want you to take a variety, but there's so much to choose from. It can be a little kind of overwhelming. You know, it's not just sort of the standard curriculum components that you have in high school. There are all kinds of departments, like Mark mentioned in the slide. There's 55 different majors in our college alone, and all of those offer introductory courses. So what you may want to pick really is highly dependent on what you're interested in. If you don't know, that's okay. Sometimes it just comes down to picking something fun or talking to one of our students here who's been through some of those introductory courses and GE courses for some guidance. But there is going to be a lot of hands-on experience over the summer session, and our office is going to be open for questions. And so you'll be meeting with, as I mentioned, you'll be meeting with an advisor, and so you'll get their contact information as well. The actual registration period will come during the summer session. So students are assigned what's called a pastime. So that's a specific time and date for students to register for classes. But before that, students can go into our schedule builder system, which is our online scheduling tool, to start looking up courses specific to that quarter, throwing those in there, seeing what that's going to look like for their schedule, see when their finals are going to be, what class location, important details, and build a different variety of schedules. So you can kind of have your preferred schedule, you can have sort of backup options, and you can test those all out before you actually register, so that you, typically there are no surprises the day of. So yeah.
Great. Thanks, Mark.
Sure.
So we still have a bunch of questions in here about double majoring, adding a minor. And I just want to make sure that if there are new people on, that we've covered it for anyone who may have jumped on after we covered that at the beginning, because I think we maybe covered those questions first. So let's talk a little bit more about double majoring. But let's start with, what does declaring a minor look like? Does anybody have a minor? If you're, Angie has a minor, all right. Do you want to talk
Sorry.
about the minor process?
Yes, so I am currently pursuing a minor in technology management. What it looks like is every minor is also different. They usually have different requirements, but it's a certain amount of units. For me, it's 5 classes, and I can officially say I have that minor after I complete those 5 classes. It's not too bad. I would talk to an advisor who advises that minor / major. In this case, the technology management minor is through the Graduate School of Management here at UC Davis, one of the best in the country. Little plug there. But you can always email someone. There's always an advisor for a minor. So you could email them, learn a little bit more about the minor, what it entails, what classes you should take. And you have enough time. I started my minor towards the end of my 2nd year. So I thought that was enough time. I should be able to finish within the next 2 quarters. So take your time, find it out, and then you'll be great.
Tiana, do you want to just review really quickly your choices in double majoring?
Yeah. So I don't have any minors. Oh, are you saying go through the questions here about double majors, or?
No, just review for us what
Okay.
why you decided to double
Oh,
major,
yes.
process for declaring that 2nd major.
Yes. So, well, the reason I chose to double major specifically, I was taking a lot of classes in African American studies, and I was really falling in love with them. And I was like, okay, I should go in minor. So I went to the major advisor to talk about adding a minor. And she was like, well, if you're going to be taking so many courses throughout your 4 years here, you're already thinking of adding a minor now, you might as well just add the major. That gives you more room to add minors later on in different departments if you're interested in that and really look around. So I declared the major. And that is pretty much just a form that you do on an online resource called Oasis, and your advisors can help you out with that. But like I mentioned, it has to be after your 1st quarter at least. So I just pretty much went on to that website and declared the major, and I had to get it approved by the major advisors, which was easy because I had already spoke with them. And then your college has to approve it, just make sure you're in good standing and everything. But it was pretty simple declaring the major because the major advisor was extremely helpful. And I'm really happy that I did it early on because it gave me options to look at adding a triple major, which was not for me, but some people do have triple majors. And if I wanted to add any minors or anything like that. So as everyone has mentioned, doing it early is great, but just looking at your options early on. That's pretty much what I did.
Great. So we've got a couple of questions. Oh, Mark, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I was just going to add, because I saw several questions in the Q&A about overlaps as well, and whether students can do majors and minors. So there are a few rules about how much overlap in terms of the upper division courses. And when I say upper division, these are your more advanced courses that are numbered 100 or above, typically for juniors and seniors. So there are limitations on the number of classes. Between a major and minor, you can have 1 class overlap. Between 2 majors, typically you can have anywhere from 1 to 2 classes overlap depending on the size of the major. So as Tiana mentioned, there are some classes that are very similar across the disciplines, or there are some majors, like say for instance international relations, which is very interdisciplinary, and that pulls from courses in political science and sociology and anthropology and languages. So it's just something that you really want to be thinking of if the 2 majors or the minor field that you're interested in are very similar. If you're doing an English major but then thinking about a computer science minor, 2 completely different things, probably don't have to worry about that. The other small piece I'd mention too about minors are the prerequisites. So some courses like computer science, for instance, have a lot of lower division courses that you have to take before you can get to that upper division level. Those aren't necessarily listed in the minor, so it's something to be mindful of as you're sort of planning out those early stages.
Great. There are some questions in here about pre-med, but I also think maybe we should address pre-law. So Claire, I'm wondering, Professor Waters, sorry. I'm wondering if you've worked with students on any of the pre-tracks, so pre-health or pre-law or any of those.
Yeah, definitely. So because I'm in the English department, a lot of people who aren't in English enjoy it and take classes. I've certainly had a lot of students for whom, for instance, I've written law school recommendations. So there are a lot of English majors who are interested in doing law and like the sort of critical thinking and writing aspects of the major. But there are also people, as I say, who take the classes for enjoyment. And I write med school recommendations as well, which is always interesting because obviously not a doctor myself. So I'm just speaking to the person's ability as a student and their commitment to what they're doing. So one of the things that Davis and a lot of other places have become more aware of, I think, is what a benefit it is, certainly to physicians, also to lawyers, to have a broad background. And that's one of the great things about being in letters and science and part of a comprehensive university is that students, and it goes with what we're saying about majors and minors, right? Students get a really broad base in a lot of different aspects of their studies that I think really serve them well later.
Mm-hmm. Great. Khalil, do you have anything to add about the pre-law? Because you're on the pre-law track, is that right?
Yeah. So I'm pre-law, and there's definitely a lot of opportunities just on campus to get involved, to get experience. So I know a lot of my friends, for example, are pre-law. I have some friends who work at the law school, who I'm involved with a program where I'm a research assistant for someone who's in graduate school for political science right now, just so I could see that aspect of political science. We have a lot of student clubs on campus that are pre-law organizations. We have our mock trial team. I believe they actually made nationals for the second year in a row. So there's definitely a lot of opportunities to see what aspect you're interested in. And then of course, I'm gonna highlight Sacramento again as another great place to get internships. I saw internships being mentioned in the Q&A section. I definitely want to mention our Internship and Career Center on campus. It has quarterly career fairs that bring employers right to campus so that you can have that face-to-face interaction. They have an online website called Handshake that allows you to connect with a lot of employers. And so there's just really a lot of different ways to get involved, to get experience, and then also to really discover what you're really passionate about. So even for those students who said they don't know what they want to do, there's so many different ways to find that passion and find what you're really interested about. I hope that gives a good answer.
Yeah, that's great. So just to add about specifically about pre-health, the campus does have a health professions advising office, and their advisors there work with students from all over campus. So they're working with English students, and they're working with psychology students, and they're working with computer science students, and they're working with students from all majors to be as ready and as qualified for any health profession. So they're working with students who want to go into nursing, to pharmacy, to med school. And they know the prerequisites for all of those programs. So we do have a pre-health program. It isn't necessarily a track. It's not a major, but students from all majors can access that program and work with advisors to be ready to apply for those programs when they're starting to look at what they want to do after UC Davis. Okay, so let's see what other questions. Does anybody have anything to add to any of that?
I was just going to mention, I don't know if Khalil touched on the Internship and Career Center, but the Student Academic Advising Centers, we also have a pre-law advisor, or sorry, pre-law advising office too. So students can come in and talk to an advisor. I believe they are all current students at King Hall, which is our law school on campus. King Hall also offers a number of events throughout the year. And one thing I like to point out with my students, especially between, kind of the difference between pre-med and pre-law isn't really looking for any specific set courses, right? Most law schools are not going to have specific courses that you must take in order to get in. Khalil mentioned a lot of the different experiences and internships and opportunities. Those are really good resume builders and things that students can do. So, going back to what I said earlier about majors and opportunities and try to find that balance, really think about how all these different pieces fit into that longer term goal.
Great. So I actually jumped down to the bottom of the list just to see if there are any new questions in here. And we have some really good ones actually that haven't, I think because they're at the bottom, they haven't moved to the top yet with some of the upvoting. So make sure you're upvoting questions if you have them and see them in there. But I wanted to bring this one out. When can you start taking upper division? I'm hoping to start taking upper division chem classes in the sophomore year so that I can graduate on time and without having to take summer school. So who wants to start with that one? Mark, you want to start there?
Yeah, a lot of it depends on the prerequisites. So for a major like chem, there's going to be prerequisites, the general chemistry series, organic chemistry maybe. In terms of upper division classes in general, I referred to them earlier as primarily for juniors and seniors. That's typically when most students will start taking upper division courses. But a lot of students, if they've gone through all of their prerequisites, maybe it's for their major, maybe their major's on the smaller side, and they feel ready to start upper division courses, students can do that in their sophomore year. And maybe, Claire, you'd have some input on this too, like what would be a reason a student may want to start doing that or maybe waiting on that?
Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of variation. English doesn't have an especially strict prerequisite structure, so there are some prerequisites, but it's not a heavy load. So I do sometimes have certainly sophomores and even freshmen in upper division classes. And I think sometimes it's that a student sees a topic that's really of interest and that might not be offered every year and thinks, well, I want to take that now because I don't know for sure if that'll be taught again. Let me go ahead and do that. And it generally is fine. If I have a freshman or sophomore in an upper division class, I'll sometimes sort of check in with them and just make sure that they know that the class is mostly going to be made up of people who have been doing this a little bit longer, but often they'll turn out to be really fantastic students in my experience who just had a lot of curiosity about the subject.
There we go. Any students, like what was your experience? Khalil, I know you're a second year, right? So have you jumped into up division at this point yet?
Sorry, I think I was muted there for a second. Yeah, I'm definitely taking upper division courses. And it really depends on the class. It depends on your own schedule. So I might be a second year, but I don't want to overload my class schedule with 6 upper division classes. It's just finding the right balance and whatever workload works for you. But with that being said, it's definitely an option. I know I started taking upper division courses at the end of my freshman year. And so as long as you start to get within the rhythm and you know what you're getting yourself into, it should be okay.
Awesome. So we talked a little bit about orientation. Mark covered some of that, but for the students, do you, maybe we'll start with you, Tiana, since you're now almost done. Do you want to talk about what the process is for registering for classes? So maybe talk about Schedule Builder, how the calendar works. Yeah, let's talk about maybe just briefly about some of those tools and things like that.
Yeah, so as Mark mentioned earlier, all students are granted a pass time. So your pastime you will see on Schedule Builder. So once y'all start thinking about your schedule during orientation, you'll get acquainted with Schedule Builder and how to use it and whatnot. But you'll see a pastime on there, and that is the time that you were granted to register. So you'll have a Pass 1 and a Pass 2. So Pass 1, you can think of it kind of as like the first phase of registering for students. And then Pass 2 is like the second phase. So it's 2 different dates. During Pass 1, there's a certain amount of units you can register for, but we usually recommend for incoming freshmen that your entire schedule is around 12 to 14 or 15 max, just so that you have like a really good load for your first quarter. You're getting acquainted with the university and adjusted. You should be registering for lower division courses during your first quarter. But yeah, so as I mentioned, you have a pastime. You'll kind of go on Schedule Builder, add courses that you're interested in. You'll make sure that there are not any conflicting times. So for instance, you'll have lecture and section for a lot of classes. So section is discussion when it's usually a smaller class size. You have time with your teaching assistant, your teaching aide, not usually with the professor. And during that time, that's where you can like ask questions and things like that in case you're in like a 300-person lecture hall where you can't really ask as many questions. So you want to make sure that the classes you're choosing aren't conflicting with one another, but Schedule Builder will prevent you from that anyways. So that's why Schedule Builder is a really great tool. You know, whether you like classes at 8 a.m. or classes in the evening, it really gives you a lot of flexibility to take a look at what your schedule will look like before you actually register. During Pass 1. And then as I mentioned, during Pass 2, which I think you could correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, I don't remember exactly, but I think it's like a month later after Pass 1 approximately.
Roughly, it depends on which quarter you're registering for.
Right. So yeah, during Pass 2, you can add more units, but we recommend staying on the lower side during your first quarter, but you can also change your schedule. So if there's a class you no longer want, you can drop it. You can add other classes. So that's like a rough overview of what registering will be like throughout your time here. As you become upperclassmen, so when you're a junior or senior, you have an earlier pastime. So your pastime isn't the same. I guess that's something to say. If you are looking at your friend's pastime, like, why is yours on the 5th and mine is on the 27th? Well, if your friends who was on the 5th is a junior, they're gonna have an earlier pastime than yours. It's usually not that drastic, but that's just like an example. So when you're a freshman, you won't have that good of a pastime unless you're in particular programs where usually you get priority, but usually your pastime's a little later than upperclassmen. So those are just like some pointers, like when you start looking at Schedule Builder.
Great.
Can I add something?
Yes, please. Yeah.
I saw there were a couple of questions about getting into classes and wait lists. And there's a lot of variation in that. You know, some classes are more heavily subscribed than others, and that's always true. But I just wanted to say that it's something that the college always really keeps an eye on and tries to help with as much as it can. Sometimes the class, I've moved my own class to a bigger room sometimes if there were people on the wait list. And that was a possibility. And over time, the college watches what courses are in high demand and tries to add capacity there. So as Tiana was saying, you get more priority as you move up because, of course, if you're a senior, you have less time left to take that class. So early on, you might be a little bit less high on, you wouldn't be less high on the wait list automatically, but just in terms of pastimes, you might be. But we really work to make sure that that's not a problem.
Great. So we do have some questions about AP units. So that's very specific. I don't know it off the top of my head, but Reyes, you might know. I know it's on the registrar's website, but do you know the
Yeah,
where the chart lives?
there are a lot of different locations where you can link to it, but all of them typically go back to the general catalog. So if you go to catalog.ucdavis.edu, that'll take you to the sort of the home base for that. And there's a search feature to look for, because I can never remember which particular page it's on for the advanced placement, but there's a whole chart for every advanced placement and international baccalaureate exam and what those courses correspond to here at Davis. So I saw in the Q&A questions about math and physics. So it will tell you based on your score, the exam type, so whether you took a calculus AB or BC, and what your score is, what the equivalent course at UC Davis is. The key thing to know about AP credits and IB credits and how they articulate to classes is that they can be used for specific major requirements. So let's say you did complete your history lower division course through the AP history exam or math. That can apply to your major if it requires that. The AP scores don't satisfy GE courses though. So it's really just used to satisfy credits for certain majors. And some courses can be taken. So if you, even though you got credit for Math 16A, for instance, you can still retake that course here at Davis, whereas some other exams, you would not be able to take that course again and duplicate it. So it's really important to read that chart. It's super tiny in the catalog, but it has all the information there. And that's something that we would go over during advising through the summer as well with you. So those really specific questions about your the courses and the exams you took will go over or your advisor will go over with you and make sure you're not, going to duplicate anything or take something you don't need to take. And then I also wanted to point out real quick too, I saw a couple of questions towards the bottom about community college courses and whether or not those would satisfy general education. So if you happen to have taken courses at a community college, particularly if it's a California community college, you can go to a website called assist.org. And you can actually look up the articulation agreements between community colleges and UC Davis. So if you took an English class or history class or math class and you want to see if it's equivalent to something here at Davis, you can. And in those cases, those courses actually do satisfy GE courses if they articulate, because they are college level credit.
Great. Thanks, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going through the list here, and this one strikes me. What sets UC Davis apart from the other UCs? Does anybody have any insight? Mark Reyes is at UC Davis. Yeah.
I was saying us, not me specifically.
I want to say something here. Because I think I've been really happy to hear Chancellor May say this, because I've always been surprised that nobody's mentioned it. But UC Davis really is the one of the UCs that is a big comprehensive research university in a small friendly college town. And that combination, as people have been saying before, has a lot of good things about it in both directions. Some people want a big city. We're near some big cities for sure. We're not in a big city. But I like that combination. There are a lot of great schools across the country that have that combination. In the UC, we're kind of the ones who do that.
Right. I absolutely agree with that. We're a big, top 5 public institution in a small college town. And actually, I think Davis has been ranked the top college town in the state of California. So in terms of college towns, it is the best. So that definitely sets us apart. How about you students? What do you think? Were you choosing between any of the other UCs or any other school? Like, what set UC Davis apart for you? Go ahead, Khalil.
Yeah, I think the college town environment is something you'll hear over and over again from everyone here. And it's because it really makes a massive difference. And if it helps build a community here at UC Davis, I can't stress that enough. It really genuinely feels like everyone is in it together. And even off campus within the city of Davis, most of us are students. And so it makes it really easy to navigate. It's not like you have to make this transition between the campus and the city. It's because the whole city really is geared towards the college. And so you can find student discounts, you can find all your friends within the town. And so it's just super easy. And if you're worried about making the transition into college, UC Davis will really help make that transition as easy as possible.
I think also going off of that, it is an amazing college town. So like everyone mentioned, you're very intertwined with the city because a lot of the city are students, but you do have the option to go to San Francisco. It's not too far. there, you can go to Berkeley, like there's a shuttle that takes you from UC Davis straight to Berkeley if you want to go experience the Bay Area. So I really liked that aspect because rather than being stuck in the city for the entire time and trying to get around might be a little more difficult. UC Davis, for instance, we have our Unitrans, which is our busing system, which is, I don't know how I've gone 3 days without it. I don't have a car. I mean, everyone bikes, but if you want to get to like the other side of town, the buses run pretty much all throughout Davis and they're free as students. So that's one thing that I really, really liked about UC Davis. And then also, if I want to get out of Davis, there are some really great surrounding areas where I don't have to necessarily be immersed in that the entire time. And the way they're able to still have those internships and opportunities available within a small college town was also really impressive to me.
Great. We have a few questions in here about resources on campus. So particularly, I know in our presentation, we talk about having in the dean's office, and Mark, maybe you can briefly talk about this, having a mental health counselor in the dean's office, as well as a case manager for helping students navigate the mini systems. But for the students on the panel, what are some of the resources that you've utilized, whether it's, you know, the health system or the ARC, you know, for your own physical health? Maybe talk about getting involved, like, you know, some of the ways you've gotten involved. So do you want to talk a little bit about maybe 1 or 2 resources that have stood out for each of you?
I can start. I remember when I was a first year, I really struggled in physics. As a CSE major at the time, I had to take a lot of physics, and I had never taken any physics in high school before, so it was really challenging. But we have a lot of great tutoring resources here on campus. Almost every department has a group of students or TAs dedicated to giving you tutoring times. So I went to the physics department's website and I found their handy dandy tutoring guide. And I would go to, I believe it was South Hall, like every Wednesday, and I got the tutoring that I needed. I still did really poorly, but that wasn't their fault. That's just me being bad at physics. I really enjoy the ARC. If any of you have had the pleasure of visiting campus, you've probably seen our huge gym. It's very big. We hold Hack Davis there every year. There's just so much to do on campus throughout the entire year. And I find that I'm never really bored. We have the farmer's market. That in itself is therapeutic. So there are a lot of ways you can get involved and feel like you're a part of the community here.
Yeah, I'll go next. I'd say one of the big things I did my first year was take a first year seminar. And so first year seminars are like smaller classroom setting, more impersonal, not really like focused on the grade and more building connections with other first year students. And there's a variety of different topics. For me, there was a So You Want to Go to Law School seminar. I took a Finding Campus Resources and Organizations seminar. We have one that's about zombies that I hear a lot about. So there's really a variety, and I think that small classroom setting is very helpful for your first year because you got to focus on a niche interest while meeting new people for your first year. So that's something I definitely would encourage you all to look at when you're registering for classes. And I'm sure they'll send out more information about that.
Great.
Well, I think for myself, one thing that I really love about Davis is the hub of resources that they create. So for instance, they have the Student Community Center, or the SCC. You'll hear a lot of acronyms when you come to campus and you'll kind of learn what they are, but it's also references to the SCC. And that has like the LGBTQIA Center, the AV 540 and Undocumented Student Center, the Cross Cultural Center, a lot of study spaces. Upstairs, they have the Undergraduate Research Center, which really helped me get involved in research. Just walking in there and asking about like, hey, what opportunities are there, helped me get involved with a really great program called the McNair Scholars Program. So they're really excited to help students. So that's definitely a place you'd want to go to, just that whole building. And then another resource that I think I really loved seeing built and integrated into campus during my time there, because it wasn't there when I was a freshman, is Aggie Compass. And also the pantry became like a really big thing. And those are two great resources for food security. You can go by, I think it's twice a week for Aggie Compass, where you just swipe your ID card and they give you free food. The pantry, I think you can go once daily and get free food. Aggie Compass also has help for housing insecurity. So there's a couple times where I was struggling with rent and they gave me a lot of great resources and assistance. Those are really great resources that you don't have to wait until you're in need. You can definitely just go and see what it's about because they're very helpful.
Great. Okay, let's look at some of these other questions in here. We do have some specific questions for our majors, so pretty major specific. And I just want to remind everyone that we're doing a majors fair, a virtual majors fair over the next couple of days. So if you have specific majors questions, hopefully you'll tune in for that. There's some computer science questions in here, and I may throw that to Angie in just a second, but we also have there's some questions in here for chemistry and cog-sci. Actually, cog-sci is coming up at 5:30, so hopefully you can stick around for that. Let's see, what other questions? Oh, how about the career fair? So I know we talked a little bit about the internship and career center, but there's a question in here, does the college have a specific career fair? And I know we don't necessarily, but for the students, do you want to talk about your experience with that, going to or participating in any of the career fairs?
I've gone many a times. At first, my first and second year, I only went just to see what it was like, because at the time I didn't know if I was interested in an internship or a job yet. But recently I've started bringing my resume to those internship and career fairs. They're big, they're held in an ARC pavilion, and we have, I think, hundreds of companies come, and they have tables set up, and you can line up to meet a recruiter from a company, give them your resume, have a conversation with them. And that's a really great way to have that in-person, one-on-one connection with someone. Sometimes you'll end up leaving with a whole load of swag, of business cards, of information that you can use to approach internships and jobs. I know that for CS students, especially going into your junior year's the summer after your junior year, internships are really important. That's your way of accessing jobs after you graduate. So a lot of students, not just CS students, we really need to take advantage of the internship and career fair, because that's a really great opportunity. They're coming to you to talk to you. They're the ones interested in you as applicants. So I would definitely take advantage of that. But if for some reason you're not able to go, or nothing comes of a fair, you should definitely check out the Internship and Career Center. They always have resources and ways that you can get involved. They'll help you, polish up your resume, send out cover letters, et cetera, et cetera. And there's always a way to improve here.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just gonna add on to that. So like actually, just like Angie, my first year and actually this year, I mostly went to the career fairs to observe, because I was like very new to it and I didn't know what to expect. And so definitely it's a very big event. A lot of people sometimes even like dress up in really like professional business clothing, bring their resumes. So it's definitely something to check out, even if you're not sure if you want to look for jobs and internships yet. It's just a good experience to have. But there's a lot of other resources to help you if you're not ready to apply yet. So maybe you need help work on your resume. I know that's something I never had before I came to college. They have resume workshops in their internship and career center, mock interviews that they can hold with you. So there's a lot of other resources besides just the internship and besides just the career fair. that you can take advantage of.
That's great.
And Mark, I just want to add something else to, I mentioned it earlier, but the Study Abroad Center, I wanted to kind of plug them. They're one of my favorite resources too, because I got to study abroad when I was a student, and I really encourage anybody who has the opportunity to try it at some point. They also have internships abroad. So if you're looking for a twofer, if you want to study abroad and also get some work experience, there are a number of internship opportunities that they offer. You can go to the Global Learning Hub and their website and have a bunch of information about the different opportunities.
That's great. Perfect. So we have about 10 minutes left. Hopefully we can get through maybe a couple more of these questions, but I just want to remind everybody about the Majors Fair in the next couple of days. So we're hosting the Majors Fair. So hopefully you've seen that on our website and you'll register for that. We also have some more student panels coming up. We've got one for first generation students. So if you're a first generation student, we hope you'll come and ask our own first generation students how they acclimated to the campus and found resources. We also have one for balancing your academics and everything else. So what it means to be a student at UC Davis as well as a student employee or a volunteer or a research assistant or an intern. So balancing all of the parts of being a UC Davis student. And then on Friday, our ambassadors of Letters and Science, Angie and Khalil, are two of our awesome ambassadors. We're hosting a panel with the ambassadors where you can ask them anything. Ask an ambassador anything. So hopefully you'll come back for that. So let's take another couple of questions here. Ooh, I love this question. School spirit. What is the school spirit like? Game days at Davis. What does that look like? And let's go with everybody. So Claire, what has been your experience with the Aggie spirit on campus?
I think one of my favorite things, and one of you all will have to explain this because it's a little bit of a mystery to those of us who aren't students, is Pajama Day, where you will go all around town and everybody will be in their PJs, all the students anyway. That's always kind of a hoot. Picnic Day is a fabulous, we're sadly not having that this year, but that's a wonderful kind of very Davis event that takes place on campus, sort of centering on our big central quad, where all the departments and programs and clubs and community people come out and just sort of enjoy the university. So those are a couple of things that I would think of right away.
Great. Mark, Reyes, do you have anything?
I have to admit, I wasn't big on school spirit when I was here, and I think I only went to a handful of games, even though they were free. I chalk that up to my introversion. So I don't know that I have a whole lot to add, but I do know that some of the big games, homecoming week for football season is big in our brand new stadium. There's the Causeway Classic, which is the rival game with Sac State. So just across the causeway from us. But yeah, I gotta be honest, mine's fairly limited.
It's all right. It's okay. Tiana, how about you? What has been your favorite Aggie experience, or what's your school spirit?
Definitely picnic day. So I'm very sad we're not having it this year.
Yeah.
In the last quarter, but don't not go to picnic day. I know some people who have never gone and they're graduating, and I'm like, what were you doing? Picnic day is like the epitome of Davis, so that's definitely one. There's the whole Earth Festival, which is really great. That's also a time where students come out and community, a lot of vendors are there. It's really fun. There's a lot of cultural days that they have. So they have like Black Family Day, the powwow. It's really great. But I wasn't so big on the football games. I felt like the school spirit for those were kind of up and down, but the basketball games are just so much fun. Like definitely those games are really, really a lot of fun to go to. The homecoming game is really great though for football, but the basketball games were my favorite. Basketball and the picnic day events.
Khalil, how about you? What has been one of your favorite things to do?
Yeah, I'll echo a lot of what Tiana said. There's a lot of different events to get involved with. And I will say a homecoming football game is a really big event. And as well as Picnic Day, Whole Earth Festival, Lawntopia, Sunset Fest, there's a lot of different events and concerts that get put on. And so there's a lot of opportunity for student spirit. And my personal opinion is I really do feel the student spirit at Davis. And so you're around of people who are like really proud of the school that they came to, and you find your community when you're here at Davis.
Yeah. Angie?
Yes to everything everyone else said.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't go to a lot of games. I don't go to a lot of the events. But one thing I really like about our school spirit is that you can like go to any event and you'll probably get swag. You'll probably get a t-shirt out of it. And then you can wear that t-shirt the next week. And then someone's going to be like, oh, nice shirt. I have the same one. And it's a really fun sense of community and sharing shirts with someone random that you've never met before. There are so many ways that you can be connected to someone that you never imagine, and it's because you're on this awesome campus with a bunch of really great welcoming people. So definitely highly recommend going to like Sunset Fest. That's one of the first things we have of the year, and that's your chance to make friends, meet different organizations, and just listen to awesome music. So
Yeah.
do it.
Cool. Great. Yeah, I mean, I love living in town and, you know, working on campus and being able to go to these games. I don't get to go for free like you guys do anymore. Being a part of Aggie Pack in the student section at all the games, I know was a lot of fun. So yeah, I think the community and the campus are, I feel like they're coming together again. For some of these things, for football, for basketball. Basketball, I know last couple of years has been pretty great. So yeah, I feel like we have a lot of great things to do in that area. So we have maybe time for one more question, but I'm going to ask my producer to flip the screen to what's coming up next. So hopefully we'll get a chance to see some of the schedule for what is coming up next. And then while she is queuing up the last slide, let me see if we can find another question in here. There's still a lot of questions about double majoring. Let's see. Did anybody see anything in the Q&A that they wanted to address specifically? Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I saw a few questions about advising and how often or when students will get to meet with their advisors. So I think I mentioned this earlier for maybe those who didn't catch it. Our Aggie Advising, which is a summer advising program, will happen in early May throughout the summer up until registration times, which are going to be in July. And then what the College of Letters and Science also has for all of our first year students, and something that I help oversee, is our mandatory advising program. So all students in the college will have an opportunity to meet with an advisor in fall quarter. You're not limited to just the one appointment. Those students can come in multiple times, but we wanted to make sure that everybody had an opportunity to meet in their first quarter and definitely in your first year. And then the other thing I like to point out too is that our office, as a college office, is just one piece of sort of your overall advising team. There will also be your major advisor, your minor advisor, some of the other centers that we talked about today, tutoring, internships, all of these more specialized advising centers are going to be sort of part of the team that you're going to build over time. So yeah.
Great. Thanks, Mark. Go ahead, Claire, please. Yes.
Yeah, just quickly. I just want to put in, I want to follow Khalil in putting in one more plug for first year seminars. Somebody asked where to find information about those. I would say actually just Google first year seminars. UC Davis will probably get you there. But I wanted to add that those keep being more of them because people keep signing up to do them. So you want to sort of keep an eye on those and see if there's something of interest to you. I've taught them before. They're great. They're really fun. And it's a really nice way to get acclimated.
Awesome. Well, I think we're just about out of time. So I want to, first of all, say thank you to our panelists. Thank you. Thank you. You guys are amazing. Thank you. And also want to just point out some of the last few things that we've got coming up the rest of this week. So today, in fact, psychology, cognitive science, and philosophy are going to be covered. So I know there were some questions in the Q&A about some of those programs. So hopefully you'll come back for that this afternoon. And then over the next couple of days, we're covering a lot of our other majors during that virtual majors fair. So register for that. And then join us on Thursday and Friday for a couple more student panels. And that's really going to be your chance to ask those students anything about student life, about what it meant to come here, why students choose to come to UC Davis, what it means to be an Aggie, all of their experiences. And everything is on that website. I know we've got captioning happening, so hopefully you've been on the website, but I also want to let everybody know that we are recording this session, and we will be posting it once it's captioned for viewing. We'll link it back to the website, and then all those majors fair sessions will also be recorded. Okay, so thank you everybody. Thank you again to our panelists. Thank you for coming. Congratulations on your admittance to UC Davis. We hope to see you in the fall. We hope to see you in the fall. We hope to see each other in person in the fall. We're still, we've got our fingers crossed that we'll all be back together. So as always, be in touch. You have my contact information because we've emailed you. So if you have further questions, feel free to email or call. We're all here to assist, okay? All right, that should do it. Thanks again. Bye, you guys.